Recording is now in progress. So, Harold, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Steve. Hello, everybody. My name is Harold van Heeringen, and I'm a software cost engineer and a senior consultant in Society in the Netherlands. Also, current president of the ISBSG, which is the National Software Benchmarking Standards Group. And I'd like to mention that I'm really sorry I can't be there with you today. My first is Russian, so actually my second home is Russia. I really would like to be with you today, but the moment you're listening to this presentation, I'm flying back from Brazil, so I can't be to place at the same time, of course. So sure, you're all enjoying this event, and I'm very glad to have the opportunity to address you in this pre-recorded presentation. And I hope the technique will be okay, and that you can follow it in a good way. So I will talk to you about benchmarking today. As I said, my wife is Russian, so I asked her to find some Russian proverbs that have something to do with measurement or with benchmarking, and came up with these few. And she said, well, there are not too many proverbs actually about measuring or measurement or benchmarking in Russia. So maybe there's not really a measurement culture in Russia. I don't know, but maybe. So I hope this event today will at least help to progress that a little bit. Okay, this is my overview of the presentation. I'm going to talk about benchmarking. As I said, I want to talk a little bit about the software project industry as we see it. Then functional size measurement. Not sure if this is done a lot in Russia or if you already have other presentations on this topic. So that's brief. Something about metrics and historical data, of course, the ISBSG, which we need to benchmark. And examples about how you can benchmark, for instance, projects, but also organizations. Some other uses for benchmarking, and then conclusions and remarks. So let's see at the benchmarking Wikipedia. Benchmarking is the process of comparing yourself to industry best or best practices from other industries. So it's really about performance metrics, about indicators, about measurements, about productivity, stuff like that. And well, measurement is of course important, but you also have to be able to compare yourself to others, probably best in class. And this will allow organizations to develop plans to improve some aspect of performance. In some organizations there is already a benchmarking culture, it's a continuous process, but to be honest, in most organizations I don't see this. It's either a one-time thing or not a thing at all. So to benchmark, you have to know where you are. You also know where you are because you need to have feedback along the journey to where you're going. You wish to use the feedback, and you may have to alter your plans. But first of all, to know where you are, because even if you want to go somewhere, you have a very detailed navigation map like this here. Still, your route is not clear. It depends really much on where you are, and close or how far you are from the way you want. In my work, I often hear clients stating stuff like, "Hey, I want to become 30% more productive." It always raises the question, why? Well, first of all, why 30% and not 25 or 35 or 50? And of course, also, what is your current productivity? Is it even possible to improve so much? Let's say you're already in the class segment of the market, and you're already very efficient, very effective, very productive. How to improve 30% maybe it's not even possible. So I mean, you have to know where you are, you have to know the room of improvement possibilities, and only you can put a road there. So marketing is actually about knowing where you are, and depending where you are, knowing where you want to go. And so it's a strategic management decision or a strategic management activity, benchmarking. But it's very hard to determine where you are. Well, not in a car. If you are somewhere and you have a GPS installed, then it's quite easy. But if you're in an organization and you're in a competitive landscape and with a lot of competitors and a lot of services and a lot of stuff going on, new trends and dynamic markets, then it's difficult to understand where you are. Okay, well, that's a small tour to the software project industry. What we, at least in Holland, but also in other countries, is that performance metrics of software development. By the way, this is the scope of the presentation. I'm mainly focusing on software development projects here, just took one aspect of the IT that is close to my heart, where I work the most. When we're looking at software development project industry, we see quite a low maturity when it comes to, well, first of all, estimating projects, but also for performance measurement. We see to measure the performance of your projects afterwards, to understand how productive you are or how good the quality of your software is. So very few organizations really have performance measurement processes implemented. Very few organizations have benchmarking processes implemented. This means that most organizations don't really know how good or how bad they are in the maintaining software. And they can't really assess their competitive position. They can't make the strategic decisions they need to improve their competitive position. We see if we look at the data, for instance, in the ISPG data sets, that because organizations are really good in delivering software to 30 times more productively than worse developed organizations. Activity, high quality, more functionality for the users against lower cost. And it doesn't matter if it's done waterfall or an agile project. It's the same. They're much more productive than the working class organizations. So the time to market is really important in this dynamic market. Is to gain competitive advantage, be faster than your competitor with services or products you can sell to the customers. And organizations therefore will always find themselves in trouble. They are outperformed by competitors. Well, in cases their whole IT departments get outsourced because they are perceived to be too expensive. Versus software houses like Society, also my company in the Netherlands. If we are not performing in a right way, we will never win new contracts because they will go to the best-in-class organizations. So we want to do that. Where you are, I already said before, for benchmark is essential to know if you are in the best-in-class, if you're in the worst-in-class, if you're somewhere in between. You have to know your room of improvement. About performance, there's always a balance. So you can, of course, you can deliver software very fast, but usually this will really suffer the quality, for instance. So there's a balance between productivity, speed, quality, and I have some metrics here that are used often in these type of metrics, and you can see that the left upper corner is about your overruns, cost or duration or effort or whatever. In the other 3 quarters, we have the usual software metrics that we use in benchmarking activities. You'll see that there is one measure there that is important, which is size. So, for instance, for productivity, you have input, output, right? So you measure the input and the output, and the division of this is the productivity, and it is actually the output of whatever you're doing. Projector and quality of the site. So size is an important measure. That is a part metric that you can benchmark also with others. So it's difficult in a low in an industry that has low maturity to really comparison in a meaningful way. Because if everybody measures the same measures in other ways, you compare them, but it's not meaningful. You compare apples to apples and not apple oranges. You don't want to compare apples to just apples. You want to compare the right apples to red apples, and not like this. Okay. In the slide, you can see some comparison of an apple to a white apple to a white apple. But it's very difficult in an industry where there are not really standardized metrics, except for the one that we're going to see in a minute, to compare in a meaningful way. But of course, here we do this because in this case we have a normalized metric, which is the price in rules, and we have some other aspects that we understand and that we can measure. I was talking about size, which is an important measure. When I'm talking about size, I usually talk about functional size. Because functional size is an ISO standard for function points. NESMA is the cosmic function points. ISO standardized measures that measure the functional user requirements, and this means that they are that it's possible to use to compare in a meaningful way. So they are objective, independent, verifiable, and repeatable. And this means that it doesn't really matter if I do the functional size measurement or some other guy who's also certified measurer does it. Based on specifications, the same size will come out of it. And many studies already show that there is a strong relation between functional size and project effort and project duration and measure step. So it's really useful in this way. So you can use functional size in many ways. Most organizations use it for project effort, duration, and cost estimations, but also use it for benchmarking and performance measurement, like I'm talking about now, or using really ways, let's say, independent management or RD management. To benchmark, however, you need historical data. So, historical data, you need industry data, but historical industry data, because you want to compare to something. Function point is the best unit of measure to use benchmarking. Because, first of all, it is of value for the client or the business. So we talk about more functionality, it is more value. This is how the customers and the clients think. Lines of code is necessarily of value, because if you get the same functionality for more lines of code, probably your total ownership is going to be higher, for instance, because the maintenance and new releases of the software will be difficult to do, and it means that your productivity is going down and higher costs are arising in maintenance. So the question is, the code, is it of value, yes or no? Usually not, maybe sometimes yes, but at least everybody understands that if you get more functionality and more means or more possibilities to do stuff, then it's not that you pay more for that, so it's valuable. Functions are independent of the technical requirements, which makes it even better for comparison. So if it's implemented in Java, in the SOA architecture, or in a global mainframe, it does better. And also you do it in an agile or in a package implementation, or in a full project, it does also not really matter. The 100 function points is equal to the 500 function points in all cases. Okay, to add some software metrics, I already talked about a little before. So the real software metrics we use in software benchmarking are productivity, quality, and time to market. Productivity, I usually use the PDR, the project delivery rate, which is the effort hours per function point, and the number of defects delivered per 1,000 function points after delivery to the client. And it is the number of function points delivered per calendar month. These are typical metrics that I use when I benchmark projects. So performance measurement, which is for benchmarking, you have to complete or to measure the size of your completed projects, project size and the product size, which are two different things. Because in the product size you're delivering to the client is the functionality you're delivering. The project size may also include, for instance, conversion software or stuff like that. To do in the project to be able to deliver the product. You analyze the data, first duration, defects, stuff like that. You normalize the data when necessary. So if there is not a standard data mechanism in place, so you have to normalize it a little. Store it in a corporate database and benchmark it internally and also externally to know how good or how bad the project was delivered. And of course it's on the project level, but if you've done some projects, you can create it to an organizational level to see how good or how bad the organization is capable of delivering software. Measurement activity is also to report the metrics and trends. So you have different reports for different stakeholders. The manager gets another report than, for instance, the QA manager or the senior IT manager. It depends also on the goals of the stakeholder, what type of report is needed at the stakeholder. Okay, now look at the ISBSG, the International Software Benchmarking Standards, which is a independent and not-for-profit organization. And it's actually what they do. They have two repositories. One is called Development Project Enhancements, which has over 6,000 projects in it, and their maintenance and support database with over 1,000 applications in it. It's quite simple. Everybody can submit data. There are the questionnaires on the side. You fill in the data of your completed project or of your application, send it to ISBSG, where it will be analyzed, put in the database, and as a thank you, you will get a free benchmark report that shows how good or how bad your project was carried out of a number of relevant peer groups. I have the ISBSG mission here, but I hope I also succeeded in putting some ISBSG flyers in the room that you're sitting now. Maybe the organizer can point them out after this presentation, so you can just read about what ISBSG is and what it does a little easier than to read all the words on this slide. The ISBSG site, as you can see, there are two main things there: development enhancement and maintenance and support. I'm sure, well, if you're interested, just pay it a visit. You can subscribe over there. There are a lot of interesting stuff with history data and benchmarking here. So just take a look. Well, also to show you some examples about benchmarking. I have project benchmark. We have repeated X, project X. So we know that the programming language was Java. We know the number of effort hours spent. We know the duration, and we know the number of defects found. So we do functional size measurement, and we got to the 411 function points for this project. So this is the input for our performance. Well, this is also the output of performance measurement. This is the input for the benchmarking activity. So first of all, we derive the metrics. If we have the numbers, the metrics are easy to calculate, as you can see. So we have a project delivery rate of almost 14 hours per function point, the speed of almost 40 function points per calendar month, and density is about 56 defects per 1,000 function points. So these numbers don't say anything because you don't know if 14 hours per function point is it a lot or is it not a lot. What the competitors do. So you need some basis of reference to compare. Oh, there the ISBSG data set comes in. So I have here on the bottom. You see, it's an Excel sheet. So 6,000 rows with a lot of data per project. You see only a very limited of columns here. There are many columns there. And you just put the filter on it and you start analyzing and filtering the data. Just to be able to find the right peer group to which you want to benchmark your project. In this, I use these criteria. There are 4 types of quotes, A, B, C, and D, and I only use A and B. If the my function points, the program which was Java, and I want to have the productivity rates of projects that are in the range of about 400 function points, not too much big, too much smaller, just to have a good overview of the productivity that's in this range. Okay, so when we look at the results, I usually make a table like this with the meta there. So I found 488 projects in the dataset. The minimum PDR was 0.1 hours per function point, which is extremely productive. The highest was 621. So in this case, there's a factor more than 6,000 between the productivity of the fastest and the slowest performer. Let's put it like that. And because of this difference, you usually look at things like the median or the average when you really want to use productivity rates of such a data set. In this case, I usually like to use the median, which is the middle value when you arrange them from low to high, because then the outliers like the 621 or the 0.1, it has less effect. So it's for me always the indication of, let's say, the market average or the industry average PDR in this case. And you see that our project delivered between median and the percentile 75. Percentile 75 meaning that 75% of these 488 projects delivered in a PDR of 80.4 or faster. So the activity rate is a little lower than market average. Okay, speed, it's the same thing. Speed, we see that we're on the low side of the median. So lower the better, I guess. No, the higher the better, I mean. Sorry. We're on the low side. And text, we are at the high side, which is also not very good. So in this case, we see that this project is carried out less productive and slower than market average, and also it appears worse than average. So it's one-time thing. There's nothing really wrong with that. But if we see this like that this is normal, then we know that we're not market average with our software production, so we have to do something. So if you aggregate things like that, things like that, you could report it in such a way that I put it here. So I have productivity index, speed index, and quality index, and I use indexes because it's usually easier for management to understand than figures. So the black lines, which indicate the market average, and you see targets, you see lower bounds. When line goes up, you see it's good, and when it goes down, it's not that good. So you see very easily that for productivity, we went up until 2010, and after that, something went wrong, and productivity is going down. With the speed, we had our best in 2011, and now also going down, and quality was market average for quite some time, and now also going down. So this organization has a challenge because the metrics are going down. There might be a problem there, so they really have to find the reason for this, and to find an improvement plan and to see if it's going up again. Well, I think I'm already almost out of time. Maybe I'm already out of time, so I will just go a little faster now. So it's used also in many other activities, as you probably all know. In the Netherlands, a lot of companies send out requests for proposals in which they ask for productivity rates or quality metrics based on function points, and it's used to select the best or the cheapest or whatever supplier for a project or for a number of projects or for a number of years. And especially in the government in the Netherlands, this is a lot. Well, of SLA agreements or other KPIs based on metrics, baselines to measure future improvement. Also, what we do is our project managers that are working at client sites, they sometimes do discussions with their clients that tell them maybe you were not very productive this time, or not very good this time, and these benchmark reports usually help him to explain that it was really not that like that. So, well, there's other uses for benchmarking, but I just wanted to put a few here. I come to the conclusions and the final remarks. Benchmark is really essential in the strategic management of organizations. You know your competitive position and want to identify the problem areas or improvement areas. To be able to make decisions to improve. There are tools, techniques, models, and historical data available to help you carry out benchmarking in a fairly low-cost way. You don't need a professional benchmarking organization that costs maybe hundreds of thousands of euros every year the benchmarking, because it's usually much better to do it yourself, cheaper, and you have much more control over the data that is. So, well, one remark, I was talking a lot about software development innovation because this is usually my cup of tea, so to say, and also in my area of daily work, software development is permanent. But other aspects of IT is in a similar way. Other performance metrics, of course, and other historical data. So you have to benchmark, and you have to see it as a strategic activity. And well, I guess that is the main thing I wanted to share with you today. Again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you from such a distance. I hope you are enjoying your event, and I hope I could raise your interest in benchmarking and ISBSG. Well, if you want to contact me, there are a number of ways that I put here in the last slide. So I have an email, I have a Twitter, I have a SlideShare account, I have LinkedIn. So please don't hesitate if you're interested to leave me, and maybe we can share some interesting things on this topic. Okay, thanks. This was it.